You know, I got to thinking this morning, and well, first and foremost, giving honor to God, and hello, and good afternoon, and good morning to everyone across the world that's able to see this video. Some of the generation coming up may never know who Mahalia Jackson was. Some of the generation coming up may have never heard her voice. If it compels you, research her. That woman was gifted with the voice of an angel. That woman, her voice was just astounding. It was a God-given talent. It was a God-blessed voice. And so I bring her up to say, I started my morning with the little Mahalia. And she has a song, it's called Trouble of This World. The Trouble of This World, I believe, is the exact title, The Trouble of the World. But the lyrics, her voice, it's available online where you can actually read the lyrics, and then it's available online where you can hear the audio, and then there's a video of her, like a back in time video with her opening a performance. I believe it's somewhere in New York. I'm not for certain what city, but there's several videos available online that I thank God that they have been preserved. You know how they say a voice comes once in a decade, or once in a lifetime, or once, some people say once in a millennium, or once in a generation. She was her generation's voice. And now here we are in the year 2023. That type of singing is what moves you. If you listen to her music and you don't get a feeling, that says a lot. If you listen to her music and her voice and you don't have any emotion with it, that says a lot. I wish I could play her song right now, but from my understanding, things are copyrighted and you can't play certain songs. You have to get permission. But I listen to it. I listen to it often. I listen to a lot of gospel. And I think it's very important in these times. It's very important. I felt like God's calling for me was to say, don't just listen to it yourself this time. Share what you were going through while you were listening to it. Share what that song means to you. Share how it's so important in today's society. power of love needs to be returned in a major way. The power of compassion needs to return in a major way. The power of valuing life needs to return in a major way. Now, that song, The Trouble of the World, gave me goosebumps. Because what we're seeing now and what's going on around us, there's no way in this time, in this moment, in this hour, in this day, that I don't recognize my Creator. There's no way in a day I will go without saying I'm a child of God. There is no way in an hour, in a day, that I will go without saying Jesus is my best friend. The trouble of the world, when she says it, it comes from her lower half, her gut, her abdomen, her essence, her heart, a soul body experience. That's something that can't be taught, that type of singing. That type of singing. I was exposed to gospel music at an early age. Along with her, many of the greats with that southern sound, that southern soul, can't be replicated. I think if many of the greats that fought the good fight were still able to be alive in this era, they would weep. They would weep. They would weep in the direction of where the youth is going. They would weep at how quickly brothers against brothers, how quickly, as people say, they go from 0 to 100. The trouble of the world. And see, you can only control you, and that's something that you learn over time. That's something I've learned over time. I think this video is definitely going to resonate with people that have heard Mahalia Jackson's music. They're going to truly understand that God-given talent, how she moves you. And that's why I said I feel like all of the leaders and the greats of the era of that generation, if they were alive today, and if they had no handle to be able to be an influence, that they would weep. They would weep. it's so sad when you hear a young man, a young boy being groomed and taught that violence is the way to go. It's not. It's sad that a lot of these young boys won't make it to young men, because a lot of these young boys have hothead influences. Therefore, it's a repeated cycle, and they become a hothead. You guys, if you have young boys, young teens, if they're still in your household, if they're within your arm's reach, hug them. Tell them you love them, hug them. Because unfortunately, they're getting involved with the wrong people, and they're not getting real love, and they're not being told that the lifestyle that they're living is short-lived. They're not being told that if you get involved with XYZ, you may be taken away a year or two on your life. They're not being told the downside. They're only getting the pros and not the cons. And that's very sad. So that's why that song, The Trouble of the World, we need our young men, we need our young boys growing up so they can be young men, so they can be young adults, so they can pursue their careers, so they can pursue being the leader of their household, so they can pursue traveling the world if they choose, so they can pursue to live their life at the fullest. But they're getting cut short. They've been sold a dream. No, they've been sold a fantasy. They've been sold an illusion. We need the uncles that are not hotheads, the uncles that are level-headed to talk to the young boys and the young men. We need the fathers that are not hot-headed, the fathers that are level-headed, to sit down and talk to the young boys so they can make it to young men. They need to know that it's cool to grow old. They need to know it is very cool to grow old. There's nothing cool about dying young. Not when you can prevent it. Young boys are just, they're being portrayed in the media. And even though they're being portrayed in the media one way, they're not giving the media that much to really go on as a lie. Because a lot of it is coming to reality. Because you're repeating cycles. You're a young boy. Your father goes in and has to do time because he did something that maybe took away someone else's life. So now you have a young boy without his father that he so desperately needs. And he gets with the crew. And now he feels like that crew is his family. Young men, you don't have as much time as you think once you join forces with something that you do not understand. If you had every ounce of information in the ins and out of things, I think you might choose differently. I think you might choose life. I think you might choose your future. We need level-headed fathers, level-headed uncles, level-headed friends, neighbors, especially if the young man is without a father. We need every level-headed man that is available. That when a young male loses his father, for someone to immediately step up to the plate. We take accountability for our own, right? We take accountability for our own, right? Little man has no direction. He's looking for direction. And it's unfortunate that some people don't have a good mindset or a good heart, and they send little man in the wrong direction just to get some quick change. Life is not a race. It's not about how fast you can get it, because just as fast as you got it, it's as fast as you lose it. And you could be losing your life right along with it. But once you've lost your life, you can't at that moment say, I want to turn back. I changed my mind. For the young men that are gone, rest in peace. For the friends of those little guys that are gone, let their funeral be a lesson. Let their life be a lesson. How they live their life. You guys, come on. People are setting examples out here. You gotta choose a side. They're setting the example. You're seeing it. If little over here is involved in some negative activity, and he knows XYZ just lost his father, then he's going to pull him in. But we don't know what he's going to be pulled into, and he doesn't know either. Got to stay prayed up. You got to stay prayed up. And I don't know personally, but I can just imagine these little guys just want to feel like they belong. They just want to fill that void of that person that they lost. But you're playing with fire. You're putting yourself in harm's way, whether that be the end of your life in a casket and then the rest of the family have to cry for you, or a long sentence in prison. In either way, it's not good. When a mother loses a child from gun violence, it not only affects that mother, it affects both mothers. One child is no longer on earth, and the other child is incarcerated for life. So there are two lives lost. And then you have families on both sides that are hurting. We gotta end the cycle. We gotta end the cycle. It's just so sad. It's just so sad. So many promising lives. So many promising lives are being lost, careless and reckless. Do you not understand how precious life is? Do you not understand how it only takes seconds to be involved in the wrong activity? Do you not understand that you young men are worthy? You young kings. You're young kings. Right? Did anybody ever tell you that? You're young kings. And you're leaving this earth too far, early, too soon. I'm tired of seeing faces on t-shirts. From little ones, mid, young adult, young teenagers. If you're a young man out there and you got a conscience and you're not trying to do any wrongdoings, that's a good start. Because at least you can think about, if I make this decision, there's a cause and an effect. You can choose to say no. You can choose to roll solo. You can choose to go put an application in somewhere. You do not have to do the activities that will get your name in the system. The trouble of this world. The trouble of this world. It seems like people have forgotten how precious life is. It can be taken away. By making a wrong decision. But see, the people who have conscience, the loving and caring people, they probably have tried to talk to the youth before. And they may not have gotten a good response. But I know a God. I know a man up there. And he said, come to him. Don't wait. Don't get in the trap. Don't get caught up. Don't get caught caught up. Oh, don't get caught up. Be careful. Be careful of the company that you keep. Be careful who's riding with you in your car. If you're a young man and you got a vehicle and some other people are riding with you, did you know if you got pulled over and there's activities going on and miscellaneous things in the vehicle that's not supposed to be, you're a part of it. You're just as, you're tied up in it then. Roll solo. Can you honestly say you can vouch for the truth in a person wholeheartedly? I don't believe many of you can. And that's okay, because you don't know someone's true intentions. Young King could be the one that's paving the way, but the other ones, low vibration. Don't want nothing out of life. Not looking for anything out of life. Haven't been taught that they're young kings. But that other young king wants to make friends so bad, wants to be in the crew so bad, that young king starts lowering his standard. You surround yourself long enough as a young king with those that don't want you to prosper, those that want to see you fail, those that see more in you than you see in yourself. And before you know it, that time has gone by. And then you've gotten caught up with XYZ, miscellaneous things and activities of such. And then it's on your record. That's only one part of it. See, it's a thing out here, it's called your reputation. You're a young king. I'm talking to the ones that they're deliberating whether or not they're gonna be involved in these activities. They're deciding whether or not is it worth it. It's not. It's not. Keep your hands clean. Challenge yourself, young king. Keep your hands clean. Yep. If there is someone pulling you to do wrong, ask yourself why. They may see something in you that you do not even see in yourself. The trouble of the world. You don't have to do questionable activities. You don't have to be involved in uncanny, uncouth, and unsavory type of activities and movements. Did you know things like that catch up to you once you started off? And then let's say one day you say, you know what, I'm not gonna do this no more. Then at that very moment when you decided to change your life, I pray over your spirit. I pray over your soul. If you're that young king that is contemplating his next move, you need to let your next move be your best move. We're not playing checkers over here. It's chess, young king. It's chess. You would have so much more honor, fulfillment, and joy and happiness and contentment if you actually did something you love doing. Not something that you were forced to do or made into doing or guilted into doing, or do it because it makes you happy. Don't do it because it makes you feel greedy. Don't do it because it's opening up some things in you that are unkind and not nice. Because young kings are not mean. Young kings possess a power that with the right motivation, it can be unleashed. And it can move some things and work in ways, and you won't have to do anything unjustifiable. I'm going to take a moment right now. I'm going to pray for the young kings. I'm doing this video for the young kings because I believe that in the city of Memphis, we have a lot of young kings. We got a lot of potential. But some people are being blinded. Some people are being blinded with delusions. Some people still have the veil over their eyes and they can't see. They can't see straight. To be a young king is to be in your walk. To be a young king is to be in confidence. To be a young king is to set a standard. Make your move. This is chess.